Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for showing up today. I'm so glad that some of you could make it for the live. Some of you are new faces. Some of you I have met before. So excited to dive into this masterclass today. We are going to be going real deep on three very powerful topics that have brought so much healing and transformation and freedom into my life. And so excited for you to experience the same. So, for those of you who are new, hello, welcome. My name is Haley Jane. I am a holistic therapist and transformational life coach. I'm also a podcast host and inspirational speaker. And I have been diving into the realms of spirituality and healing ever since I was a little girl. And this masterclass, we're going to dive really deep into three of my most favorite healing modalities. And so these three modalities include tarot, somatic therapy, and shadow work. So this is a full mind, body, spirit recipe for deep healing and transformation. I'm also going to have a very special announcement to share with you all at the very end, so stay tuned for that. And we are going to be working a little bit backwards today. We're actually going to start with tarot first, which is spirit. Then we're going to move into somatic therapy, which is the body. And then we're going to dive deep into some shadow work, which is the deep, dark corners of our psyche. And there's also going to be some opportunities for you to do some exercises. So I would recommend that you grab your journal so that you can take some notes and just write down your experience, and then you can have some time to reflect on that afterwards. So the reason why I am so passionate about these things and about healing and about spirituality is unfortunately, I had a pretty rough life growing up. My childhood was quite turbulent. Unfortunately, I had to endure a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect. I was being bullied at school when I was a kid. My family lived in poverty, so we didn't really have a whole lot. And as I grew older, that unresolved trauma started to follow me around. And I would attract really abusive relationships. I had developed an eating disorder in my early 20s. I had absolute zero self-esteem, zero confidence, and I hid away from the world a lot because from what I had learned, the world was a really dangerous place, right? Uh, However, because of that trauma that I experienced, I was drawn to spirituality at a really young age because of the healing that it provided, because of the hope and the curiosity that it sparked in me. So I started reading tarot cards when I was about 12 years old. And tarot was so powerful for me because I was in an environment where I didn't really have anyone to go to for advice. And so the tarot taught me that I could look to the cards for the wisdom that I needed. And over time, I also realized that I have a very wise, intuitive inner knowing as well deep inside of me. And so, my healing journey began with the tarot. But as I grew older, I started exploring other really amazing practices. And I traveled and I met really cool people. And eventually, I started offering readings as a service. And that was such a powerful chapter of my life. It really taught me so much about people, about myself. It helped me to realize that there is so much more than what our physical eyes can see. And it also taught me that, you can never judge a book by its cover, right? Like everybody has their own story. And yeah, it's a really beautiful tool for connection and for helping people to notice their blind spots, you know? So I did that full time for a number of years. And I also I was studying other healing modalities, and I realized, the tarot can dig up a lot of your stuff, right? It can dig up a lot of stuff. And sometimes I would have a client come in for a reading and, it dug up a lot of sensitive topics. And I realized that my ability to help them with their healing was somewhat limited. So then I decided to go back to school and I became a therapist. And one of those therapies that I learned in becoming a therapist was somatic therapy. And somatic therapy was such a beautiful modality because it helped me to repair the relationship I had with my body. And I didn't have a great relationship with my body, right? Um, I didn't feel comfortable being in a body. And, I struggled to, endure this human experience. I was extremely sensitive, right? And most of the time I was pretty checked out, right? So the somatics helped me to come back to my body and to ground and to listen to myself more. And something really incredible happened when I started to combine my knowledge of somatic therapy with my tarot practice. And that was my intuition became like 10 times louder. Uh, you know, your intuitive knowing, it's that gut feeling deep down, right? It's that deep inner knowing. And when we're disconnected from our bodies, it's really tricky for us to listen to our intuition. And so that was such a profound moment in my spiritual journey as well. And then, of course, shadow work was a really powerful one for me as well. I started connecting with different communities who did, self-development work. And one of the practices that we would do together was shadow work. And shadow work was all about revealing a lot of the hidden limiting beliefs that were keeping us stuck or keeping us small or I think a lot of us, we have this belief that it's not safe for us to be seen, or it's not safe to take up space, or it's not safe to step in our power in a really big way. And, at one point in our lives, that might have been true, right? But when we continue to carry that programming with us into our adulthood, it ends up sabotaging ourselves, right? It ends up creating obstacles. And so the shadow work helps us to notice the programming that we're holding, notice the stories that we've carried on from our past, and notice if they're still being helpful for us or if they're hindering us. And from that point, we get to alchemize the shadow and we get to write a new story, one that's supportive and empowering of our spiritual evolution and growth. So I'm really excited to dive into this with you all today. And Yeah, take your time to digest, pause if you need, if you're watching the replay. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. I'd be super happy to talk to you all about these different topics. So, at the end of this masterclass, you will have a deeper knowledge of these three topics, how you can begin to use them in your own personal practice to experience deeper healing, greater self-awareness, developing a super strong intuition, and cultivating a meaningful relationship with yourself and with spirit. Okay. Okay, so before we dive in, just want to invite you to consider this question. Why is intuition so important? Okay, so maybe think of a time when your intuition was telling you something and you didn't listen to it, right? Like what happened? I'm assuming something inconvenient probably took place, right? I think we all have those experiences where our gut is telling us something and we're like, no, 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 it's fine. And then it ends up not being fine, right? So intuition is very real, okay? It's very real. Intuition is our inner divine guidance, right? The more we listen to it, the stronger it becomes. And when we're connected to our intuition, we can then easily discern what is best for us, right? So, number one, we live in a world full of influence, right? It's absolutely overwhelming the amount of different opinions that are being shared online. You know, there's so many people saying one thing and then someone saying something the opposite, and it's very contradicting, right? It's very confusing. So how are you supposed to know what path to follow, right? When you're deeply connected to your intuition, you're connected with spirit, and spirit will show you what your unique path is in this life. It's also your direct line to God or spirit or universe or whatever you want to call it. And, we don't find God by looking up into the sky, right? We find God by looking deep within. And God or spirit is, they're always guiding us, right? Always sending us information. But it's going to be very tricky to see it or to hear it if we're not connected to our intuition, right? When our intuition is strong and healthy, our connection to spirit becomes loud and clear as well. It's also your own personal roadmap or your own unique blueprint. Okay. So the truth is, you already have all of the answers inside of you. Okay. Nobody, no one on this planet knows what it's like to be you. No one knows what it's like to live your life. Okay. But deep down, you already have the perfect recipe, right? And when you start to prioritize your own inner guidance system first and foremost, despite what other people might be telling you, you start to experience synchronicity. Okay. And we all love synchronicity, right? We all love having those beautiful, magical moments where, it's too good. It can't be coincidence. It's just too good, right? Things just flow. And so these synchronicities that we experience, this is the loud and encouraging yes from spirit, right? Spirit letting us know that we're on the right path. Okay, so now let's dive into our first topic, which I'm so excited about. And this is tarot cards. Okay, so tarot cards, in my opinion, and from my experience, has to be one of the most powerful yet misunderstood and misused tools in the spiritual community. Okay. So, yes, tarot does have a predictive element to it, and we're going to get to that in just a moment and how predictions work. But you can actually use these beautiful symbols and archetypes and artworks for so much more than just, spying on your ex, right? And there's a lot of clickbait out there online these days, and it can be really exhausting, right? So, you can use tarot in one of two ways, okay? So you can use tarot to either feed your ego or you can use it as a tool for deep healing and spiritual enlightenment. And that all depends on what your intention is for pulling cards and what your question is, okay? So we're going to look at some examples here of what a disempowering question is versus a more empowering question, okay? Now, I really want you to just stay with me on this one here, okay? Some of you who are watching this, you might not like it, and I get it, I get it. But I just want you to consider this topic, okay? So, one example of a disempowering question could be, when am I going to meet my soulmate? Okay, so now I have asked this question as well. Okay, guilty as charged. And if you read tarot, this is probably the most common number one question that you're going to get, right? Everybody wants to know when they're going to meet their soulmate, right? And I get it, right? Of course we do. Of course we want to know when our future husband or wife are going to come into our lives, right? However, I want you to consider this. This may possibly be a disempowering question because it puts us in a state of chasing after something, okay? It puts us in a frequency of lacking something, right? When you're asking the question, when is this going to happen? When am I going to do this? When am I going to have that, right? You're saying to the universe, I don't have this, right? You're emanating this frequency of lack, right? And we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are, okay? So when we're asking the universe, like, when am I going to have this thing? You're putting out the vibration of, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single, you know? And that is what you're continuing to manifest in your life, right? So we want to be mindful of the questions that we're asking, okay? And I'm going to give you some examples of what could be a more empowering option for you if you're wanting to manifest your soulmate, okay? So let's look at some empowering examples here. So here's one, and it says, what is one step that I can take today that will support me in matching the frequency of my ideal romantic partner? Okay. So the reason why this is more empowering is because you're bringing the focus back to yourself. Okay. You're focusing on yourself. We can't control the external environment, right? We can't control time. However, we can control ourselves. We can control our thoughts. We can control our attitudes. We can control our frequency. Okay. So when we're asking questions like these, we're asking the tarot for guidance or advice on, what is it that I can bring awareness to myself? What is something that I can shift within me that will create a different outcome in my life? Right? Okay. Here's another one. What is something that's blocking my heart from receiving the love I desire? Okay. And these are really good questions because, a lot of the times we want something, but we have not yet let go of the thing that is taking its place, right? We haven't yet gained the closure or the peace or the resolve that we need in order to create the vacuum for something new to take its place, right? And this question in particular leans on shadow work in a sense because it's revealing a hidden obstacle for you. It's revealing a blind spot. Okay. And one other example here, it says, what is something I am being asked to release to make space for this love to manifest into my life? Okay. So just like what I just said. Okay. So just explore some of these options and maybe think about how you're using your cards right now. Are you using the cards in a way to empower yourself? Are you using them to create deeper self-awareness, for creating more, um, more freedom in your life? Okay. Or are you strictly using the cards to predict your fate? Okay. Because there's different ways that we can use the tarot. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. All right, so let's look at all the different ways that we can use tarot cards. So yes, it is a tool that we can use for predictions, which we will get to just a second. However, there's so many other amazing things that we can use tarot cards for. Okay, so one, it is a beautiful tool for self-reflection and for deep inner knowing. Okay, a lot of the times when I pull cards for someone, it's like we're looking into a window to their soul, right? It's revealing the things that you are carrying inside. Okay. And a lot of times when you do a reading for someone, you're pulling things up to the surface and they'll say things like, "Oh, you know what? I kind of knew that. Like I had a feeling about that, right?" And so the tarot helps us to reveal things, to clarify things, to confirm things, okay? And from that place, we have more clarity, more self-awareness, and we get to work with what's there, okay? Rather than leaving things hidden in the dark, okay? So, deep reflection, self inquiry, understanding yourself on a deeper level, great for shadow work. Great for shadow work and knowing your blind spots, right? Like that question we asked a bit earlier, like what is it? What is it uh, that I'm carrying that's blocking me from blah blah blah, right? Okay. You can also use tarot as a form of mediumship, okay, connecting with spirit on the other side, or a particular deity if you want to work with a particular spirit. Also, really beautiful therapeutic tool for exploring the different layers of yourself, such as your inner child or your higher self, right? So, if you want to build a beautiful relationship with your inner child, you can, while you're shuffling, you can ask, what is something that my inner child wants me to know? Okay. So, you see, there's so much more we can use tarot for than just predicting the future. Of course, developing your intuition, always a good one. And then this last one is very interesting. You can also use the cards to learn the language of symbols, which is also the language of the universe. Okay. So let's talk about this one for a moment because this is one of my favorite ones. The universe or spirit or God, whatever, is always sending us signs, okay? It's always communicating with us, but it doesn't communicate with us in the way that you and I would talk to one another, right? It's not verbal. It communicates with us in these really synchronistic moments where you receive a sign or an omen. Or, for example, a lot of people carry significant meaning with a particular object. Like for me, for example, ladybugs carry a lot of significance for me. Okay, so whenever I see a ladybug, it's spirit communicating with me and sending me a sign, letting me know that things are going to be okay and that there's a new chapter about to open up for me and that I'm supported and, it's all good, right? So when we dive into tarot and we start to learn the language of these symbols and how the cards speak to us, this is very much the same as how the universe speaks to us as well. Okay? Isn't that fucking awesome? I think that's so cool. So, these are just a couple of the things. Of course, you can also use tarot to manifest things into your life. Okay. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful tool for connection, right? Like how many times have I had my girlfriends over to the place and we're pulling cards with one another, and it's such a beautiful bonding moment for us, right? Because we're digging up some stuff and we're talking about our manifestations and our desires, and we're also supporting each other in tapping into that deep intuitive knowing. Okay, so tarot is so awesome. All right, so let's talk about predictions. So predictions are really interesting, and it's very, very real. Okay, I gotta say it's very real. I worked at a shop downtown Vancouver, and I did tarot card readings full time for about 3.5 years. And I really surprised myself with a lot of the predictions that came up. And if that's one thing that tarot taught me, is that there's so much more going on in this world than what our physical eyes can see. Okay. So now that being said, the future is fluid. Okay. The future can change. And our future and what we're manifesting in our lives, I should also mention that we are constantly manifesting, whether we know it or not. We're doing it consciously and unconsciously, okay? So we're constantly manifesting our future based off of our beliefs, our behaviors, and our attitudes, okay? So when we pull a tarot spread for someone who's coming in and asking about the future, we are looking at what their beliefs, their behaviors, and their attitudes are currently manifesting in their life. So we're looking at the most probable outcome for that person based on where they're at right now in their life. Okay. Now, the future is fluid because if a person is willing to do their inner work and to become more aware of their beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes, they can manifest a different outcome. Okay? Cool, right? I know. So, tarot shows us the inner state of a person's psyche, and it illustrates the different patterns and blueprints that we hold. We can do the work to change our future based off of what we have available to us in the present moment. Now, unfortunately, most people don't want to do that work, right? It's not easy to change your beliefs, right? It's not easy, to break these old patterns, right? So a lot of the times people will come to a reader because they want to know what the future holds. But you, again, like we said in the beginning, the disempowering inquiries versus the more empowering inquiries, we can change our inquiry, right? Instead of asking, what does the future hold? What's going to happen in the next 6 months? We can ask the tarot, what is something that I need to work on within myself so that I can manifest blank in the next 6 months? You know what I'm saying? Right? So it's up to you. You can allow fate to happen, or you can manifest your fate, right? And I think this is really, really, really important to talk about because not a lot of people understand this layer of the tarot, right? Everybody thinks it's about fortune telling, predicting the future, those types of things. Yes, it can be, and it can help you to cultivate the destiny that you want most in your life. Okay? Cool? Great. All right, so let's break it down. So, for those of you who are new to tarot, I'm just going to explain the different segments of the cards. So, we have the major arcana, we have the pentacles, wands, the swords, and the cups. Okay, so these all represent the elements. Major arcana would be a representation of spirit. Okay, this is kind of like your life's karma. These are really big lessons and events that you signed up for before you came into this lifetime. Okay, so when you are pulling a spread for someone, the first thing that you want to look at are the major arcana, because these are the big ones. These are the main events that are happening in a person's life, okay? And then after that, you want to take a look at what is the most prominent element in that spread, okay? So if they have a lot of pentacles, we're working with the element of earth, right? So this is money. Okay, it could be about career. This could be about your physical body or your home. Okay, it talks about this 3D reality. Okay, if it's fire, this is an energy of passion, of adventure, of creativity, of sexual energy. Okay, so there could be a lot of adventure blossoming in this person's life. Maybe they're getting out and they are connecting with new people and they're dating again, or maybe they're tapping into their creativity and stepping into a bold new chapter in their life. Okay. Swords is air. Air is all about communication. It's all about learning, study, intelligence, technology. Okay. This could be someone who is in a process of learning something new. Okay. They could be working on improving their mental health. Maybe they're stepping into a chapter of their life where there's a lot of communication happening. Okay. And cups is water, and this is all about love and spirit and intuition and psychic energy. Okay, this is a very mystical element. And so, if you pull a lot of cups for someone, they could be working through some situations in matters of their heart. Maybe they're entering a new relationship with someone. Maybe they're opening up their heart again after a really rough period in their life. Maybe they're diving deeper into their spiritual practice. Okay. Maybe they're establishing a stronger connection to God or to spirit. Okay. So, this little breakdown will provide you with a kickstart of where you want to begin in a reading. Okay, so first check the major arcana, then check the most prominent element, and then it'll give you an idea of what the major themes are for that person and what they're going through in their life. Okay? Okay, so we're going to watch a tarot card lesson. Okay, this is fun. You're going to love it. Okay, so this is a really cool example of how I teach the tarot, and we're going to dive deeper into the Fool card. So
Now, let's take a closer look at the Fool card, okay? So, the Fool is the most important card in the entire tarot, okay? And I'm going to explain why. So, the Fool is the card number 0, okay? And this is the moment right before we take that leap of faith, okay? It's when we have yet to push ourselves out into the unknown. And without the Fool archetype, we would never experience all of the amazing lessons that life has to offer, right? When we lay out the entire major arcana, if you lay it all out into a row, you will see that it actually makes up a beautiful story. And this is a story of the Fool. This is all of the beautiful life lessons that the character in this Fool card is about to endure just as soon as he takes that leap of faith into the unknown. Okay? And This is such a powerful archetype to tap into because there's so many moments we all experience in our life where spirit is calling us to take that leap of faith and to be brave and courageous and to take a chance on something, right? And once we take that chance, once we take that leap of faith, we are we find ourselves into a completely new world. And this world that we're stepping into comes with so many beautiful lessons and opportunities for us to learn and to grow and to evolve on a spiritual level. And so the Fool is all about taking that leap of faith, of saying yes to the adventure, of trusting in the guidance that Spirit is sending our way, and knowing that there's incredible adventure waiting for us on the other side. Okay? So let's take a closer look at the symbolism that is in this card. So first, let's take a look at the character, okay? So the body language is very open, right? Very optimistic. He's got his head up. He's looking up and he's ready, right? He's a full body yes to the adventure, okay? So just giving you an idea of the energy that this archetype is providing, okay? And when we look up into the corner, we see we have the sun, and the sun represents divine source energy, okay? It shows that spirit is here to support this individual as he takes this leap of faith. And you will see the sun appear in multiple cards in the major arcana. We also have the little white dog. And this little dog it represents the little yapping voice that we all have in the back of our head, right? It's the voice of fear. It's the voice that says, wait, I don't know if you should do that. It might be dangerous. We don't know what's out there, okay? And it's also painted white to represent the innocence of that inner voice, okay? That voice is always there. And yes, it can be annoying at times, just as much as a little yappy dog, but it's really there to protect us along the way, okay? So regardless of that little voice, the Fool is saying, you know what? I choose Spirit's guidance over that little voice of fear. I'm going for it anyway. Okay. We also have the white flower. So white in the tarot represents purity, innocence. Okay. And this represents the innocence of the Fool. He has no idea what's waiting for him on the other side, right? But that is used as his benefit because with that innocence, he is able to be so much more courageous and brave and willing to put himself out there and see what's on the other side, okay? We also have the red feather. The red feather on his head represents life force energy, vitality, passion, okay? And you will see that red feather pop up in other cards as well, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then he has a bag at the end of his staff as well. And the bag represents everything that he'll need for his journey to make it a very successful one. Okay, so remember I said earlier how the major arcana is basically a storyline of the Fool. Okay, so once the Fool takes that leap of faith and he appears on the other side, he steps into the magician energy. Okay, and on the magician's table is everything that was in the bag that the Fool was carrying, okay? And inside that bag was all of the tools that he needs to manifest an abundant life, okay? 'Cause that's what the Magician card is all about. It's about manifestation. It's about working with the elements to produce a positive result. Okay, it's magic, right? And if you see here on the table in the Magician card, he has the pentacle, he has the cup, he has the sword, he has the wand, he has all the elements. Okay, he has everything that he needs in order to make this path a successful one. Okay? And then he ends up in the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is about duality, is about the mystical realms, right? The magician carries this message of as above, so below. The High Priestess carries a message of as within, so without. And when we're in the High Priestess energy, we're recognizing the mystical realms of our subconscious mind and how what information we hold on a deep psychic level also plays a really big part in how our journey unfolds. Okay, and we will get to the deeper messages of the magician and the high priestess, and we'll also go into further detail of all the specific symbols of these cards, just as we did in the fool card just now. Okay. And another thing that I thought would be fun to show you is these three cards. These are all connected in multiple different ways. First, we're going to start with the feather. Interesting. So we have the feather in the Fool. We have the feather on the Death card. We have the feather again in the Sun card. Interesting. So the truth is that the character in these three cards are actually the same individual. And this represents the life, death, and rebirth cycle that we all experience in this lifetime. Okay. We also have the sun appearing in all three cards as well. So again, representing that divine source energy, that spiritual guidance, that energy of renewal, of beginnings, of rebirth. And we also have the flower. Okay, so remember the white represents innocence and purity in the tarot. And so when we're working with the Fool card, the flower representing that innocence, this is his beginner's mind, right? It's the innocence of the unknown. We have the innocence in the flower in the death card. And this shows up in the death card because death itself is a part of life. It's not here to cause us harm. Death itself is quite innocent in nature, and it is a necessary part of this experience. Okay, and of course, we have the white in the horse in the sun, representing the innocence of the baby, of this rebirth, of this new beginning, and charging forth on another magical brand new journey. So these are just some really cool synchronicities that you'll see in the major arcana. There's a bunch of other really cool hidden symbols in other cards that we will get into as well in a future lesson. But basically, this is the Fool card. And so now you can see that the Fool is the beginning of an incredible magical journey of all of the different archetypes and all of the beautiful, powerful lessons that these symbols are here to teach us throughout our life. And we all embody each one of these archetypes at some point in our own personal journey. So the tarot acts as a supportive tool for us to recognize what stage of our journey that we're currently navigating and what comes after we have learned that lesson in our own unique way. So, hopefully, you enjoyed the Fool. And if you want to dive deeper into the rest of the major arcana and understand the deeper symbolism, then I can't wait to see you on the other side. So, stay tuned.
Okay, so the most important thing for you to remember when you are starting your tarot journey, this is number one, okay? Number one, the answers you seek are not in the cards, okay? So if they're not in the cards, where do you think they might be, right? Some of you already know the answer. So if the answers are not in the cards, the answers are within you, okay? This is so, so, so important, okay? Number one, because so many times we pull cards and again, it puts us in this state of chasing, right? We're chasing after the answer. We're chasing after um the thing that we want. It's not in the cards, right? And no matter how many cards you pull, you won't get that answer that you're looking for because the answer is inside of you. Okay? The cards act as a key. Okay? It unlocks something inside of you. Okay? So, yes, the cards do have their own unique messages and meanings. However, if you have an intuitive sense of something inside you when you pull a card, that always comes first. That always comes first. How many times have I done a reading for someone and I'm pulling out the cards and instead of, analyzing the meanings, I sit back and I connect with my body and I take a breath and this message comes out and it's totally unrelated to any of the cards that I've pulled. However, it is exactly what my client needs to hear in that moment. Okay. So, this is a really magical thing that starts to take place when you use tarot cards and other divination practices. It wakes up something inside of you. Okay. So, you are number one. The cards come second, but you always check in with your intuition and what you know first. Okay. Beautiful. So, another thing that I wanted to share, the biggest, most common obstacle for people who struggle with reading tarot is they're too much in their head. Okay. They're overthinking it, they're overanalyzing it. And when you're in your head too much, you start to second guess yourself. Okay. Because the mind, when it's under pressure, especially, it's running 100 miles a minute. And before you've had a chance to digest the one thought or the one possibility, another one comes pouring in. Okay. And it causes so much confusion. It causes self-doubt, right? And it causes you to put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Okay. And also want to mention that if you're someone who is in their head a lot and you tend to overthink or overanalyze yourself, that's not your fault. Okay. We live in a very mentally dominant society. Okay. And most of us were not taught how to listen to our bodies, right? Most of us were taught that, oh, out of sight, out of mind, right? We were taught to ignore our feelings. We were taught to get over it, right? We were taught to let it go, pretend it never happened, right? And so now, as many of us can see with where we're at currently in this generation, we're the ones that are having to deal with all of the shit that got dusted under the rug, right? We're the ones that are breaking the cycle. We're the ones that are actually healing and processing the generational trauma, right? So we know that those things don't really work in the long term, okay? So that brings me to our next topic, which is somatic therapy. Okay, my other really favorite healing modality. And so let's talk a little bit about somatics. It is a fairly new therapy and gaining a lot of popularity right now. It's actually very, very helpful for people who suffer from PTSD or tend to dissociate from their body, okay? Because it helps us to repair the connection we have to our body and to come back down to earth, okay? So the word soma is an ancient Greek word meaning body. Okay. And this is a body centered approach to therapeutic healing in which we listen to our body's messages, cues, that's supposed to say cues, signals, sensations, experiences, and emotions. Okay. So we're starting to come back down to earth and to listen to our body. And when we start to do that, we recognize, oh my God, my body is so wise, right? My body is always telling me what I need and what direction to take in life. I just don't know how to listen to it yet. Okay. So, in somatic therapy, we learn different tools that help us to become more aware. And with that awareness, we can then transform some of the stuck trauma that we're holding. Okay. And these stuck energies, if we leave them ignored over time, they cost us our life force energy. Okay. They cause chronic fatigue. And down the road, those things may show up in our body as illness and disease. Okay. So when we don't listen to our body, it the voice gets louder and louder and louder, and it shows up as these symptoms. Okay. It's a process of befriending our bodies, getting to know ourselves from the inside. We are learning to trust how we are and what we want or what we need. Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing somatic therapy into this work is because accessing our intuition is almost impossible for us to do when we're stuck in survival mode. Okay. If we're already overwhelmed, if we're already stressed, if we're already at capacity, we don't want to connect with our body, right? Our body is an intense place to live if we're uncomfortable all the time, right? We're going to be in our heads all the time trying to figure out how the hell do I fix all of this, right? So can you see now how beautifully powerful it is to combine this work so that you can reconnect with your body and then access your intuition and your wisdom on such a deeper level? Okay. You know, most people will associate their intuition with like their gut, right? Like when you go out somewhere and you have a gut feeling about something, right? That's your intuition, right? It's in your body, right? So combining these tools together helps you to access that wisdom so much more. Okay. And so a big thing that we focus on in somatic therapy is grounding and learning how to regulate our nervous system. Okay. Learning how to relax, come back to center. In our center, in our core, this is where our power is. Okay. So let's look at the different levels of our nervous system. So hopefully you can see this. So there's three layers to this: the ventral vagal down here at the bottom, the sympathetic, and the dorsal vagal. So you don't have to memorize any of this, but if you like, you can take some notes. And so the goal is for us to be down here in the ventral vagal. This is when we're relaxed, when we're open, when we're creative, when we want to connect with other people, we're more receptive, we're in flow. Okay, this is our baseline. Okay, when we're in ventral vagal, we can access our intuition. Okay. It's just natural, right? We move through the world in a way that feels aligned with where we're meant to go. Okay. So in life, we experience triggers. Okay. And these triggers will push us into fight or flight. Okay. So this is where we get really pissed off about things. Sometimes we get triggered to a point where we might accidentally lash out at somebody, right? It's like our nervous system takes over our body and we can't control it, okay? Now, when a person is in fight or flight for a very long period of time and they can't find a way to come back to the ventral vagal, your nervous system will take you into shutdown. Okay. This is the freeze mode, dorsal vagal. So this is when your body kind of shuts down because it's so tired of being in fight flight for so long. It needs to conserve what little energy it has left. Okay. So when we shut down, we feel really tired. We're checked out. We feel numb. We're depressed. Okay. Now, the good news is that we can change our nervous system patterns. Okay. So we can't control life, right? Life is going to trigger us, right? This stuff is going to happen. We're going to experience all three of these levels in life. That's just the way life is. But that's okay because the important piece is that we have the tools that will teach us how to come back down to ventral vagal, how to regulate our nervous system, how to reclaim our life force energy. Okay. And this is what somatic therapy teaches us. It teaches us different tools and techniques to become aware of our bodies and say, "Oh, you know what? I've been kind of agitated all day today. Like I think I've been in fight mode all day. I wonder what that's about. Maybe I should do some practices to help bring my nervous system down a little bit, right? Because otherwise you're going to feel really tired the next day, right? And again, if we stay in fight mode for weeks at a time, which does happen, then we end up shutting down, okay? So the way out of this shutdown, this freeze mode, is we have to go through it. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We have to go through it, okay? So, one really great technique for getting ourselves out of freeze mode is reconnecting with our anger. Okay. Don't be afraid of your anger. Okay. Your anger is your friend. It's there to protect you. It wants to support you. Okay. It wants to stand up for you when it sees that you're being mistreated or disrespected in some ways. Okay. So your anger is there to help you. Okay. And this is another really cool thing that we explore in somatic therapy is how to tap into that primal fire that's inside of you. Okay. So once we do that, we start to regain our life force energy. And then we come back down to center and then we're back again into ventral vagal. Okay. We're open, we're receptive, we're back in the flow of life again. Okay. So really, 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 really cool. So the first step in somatic therapy is learning lots of grounding techniques. Okay. So, whenever I work with a client one on one and they're very new to somatic therapy, the very first thing we're going to do is just learn a bunch of different ways to ground. Okay. And this is a practice that helps us to bring our attention away from the busy, chaotic mind, coming back into the body and into the present moment. So, chances are, a lot of you who are watching this, you probably already have a grounding practice. You just don't realize that it's a grounding practice for you, right? So, what is something that you do that helps you to become present in the moment and connect to your body, right? So, a lot of times, dancing is a really powerful grounding exercise, right? Helps you connect to your body. You're in the moment, you're having fun. Art is a really beautiful grounding exercise. Um, Breath work is a really beautiful grounding exercise. Okay. So the one of the quickest ways to ground is to start by bringing our awareness to the breath. Okay. So when we are in survival mode or when we get pushed into fight, flight, freeze, our breath becomes quick and shallow, okay? Because our bodies are preparing for an attack, right? It thinks it's in danger, right? So its breathing changes. So when we learn to control our breathing and we take nice, long, deep, slow, nourishing breaths, we are communicating to our body that there's nothing to be afraid of and that we can let go of the need to prepare for danger, right? Because we're safe, we're okay. Okay. And so simply by doing an easy breath exercise. So, for example, breathing in for 4 and out for 6. Okay, so you want to have a slightly longer exhale than an inhale, right? So longer exhales because when you're relaxed, this would be your natural breathing pattern. Okay, so you can communicate this to your body with your breath. Okay, so I'm going to guide you all through an exercise and you might want your journal because there's going to be some things that come up for you in this exercise. And I also want to remind you all that, you are totally in control. If you are having a shitty day today when you're watching this, you don't want to do this exercise, all good. You can save it for another time. Okay? Okay. So wherever you're at right now, if you're sitting or lying down, whatever, it's all good. Just first bring your attention to your breath. And without the need to fix anything, without the need to change anything, right? We're not here to fix anything today. We're just going to lovingly observe where you are at in this moment. Okay? So just notice your breath. And then notice the weight of your body being supported by the chair below you or the bed below you, whatever's there. Let yourself sink into that a little bit more. And each breath, just relax just a little bit more, knowing that this is exactly where you need to be. There's no wrong way for you to show up in this moment. And continue to breathe. And then when you're ready, let's do a quick little body scan. Okay, so starting from the top of your head and slowly in your own time, working your way down and just noticing what's there in each body part and taking your time, moving down to your neck, your chest, your arms, down to your belly. Continue to breathe. Your hips, your legs, your knees. And just noticing what you're holding in each body part. Okay. And then go back to the part in your body where you are noticing the most activity. Okay. So maybe it is a part of your body where you notice there's some heaviness, or you notice there's a bit of tightness, or there's a bit of strain, or maybe there's like it aches a little bit, or wherever that is. And again, we're not here to fix anything. We're not here to change it. We're here just to check in and offer it some loving acknowledgement. That's all we're going to do. Okay. And keep breathing. You're doing great. And then as we're holding space for this part, we're going to get to know it a little bit here. Okay. So if you were to describe this sensation that's present in your body, and you might want to write these things down, how would you describe this sensation? Okay. Does it have a weight to it? Is it heavy or is it light? Is it tight or is it open? Is it fluid or is it rigid? Okay. And if you close your eyes and connect with this sensation, if this part that you're connecting with right now, if it had a color, what color do you think it might be? And just let your imagination play. There's no wrong answer. And don't forget to breathe. And if this color, this sensation, if it had a shape or a texture, or if there were a particular image that came to mind, what would that be? Okay. So again, we're just holding space. We're just getting to know this part. That's all we're doing today. Okay. Is this color or shape or image, is it moving? Is it spinning? Is it solid? What's it doing? And then if this part of you, if it had words, what do you think it might say? And don't try to force it. Just breathe with it. Let it speak to you in its own time. And it might speak to you in words, it might speak to you in an image, maybe it's just an intuitive sense. And then let's ask this part of you that's showing up for you today, what is something that you need me to know? What's something you need me to know right now? Keep breathing. Great, great job. And so staying connected to this part and in your own unique way, I want you to express gratitude to this part, to this sensation for showing up and for opening up and for speaking with you today. It's expressing some loving acknowledgement, some gratitude. Mhm. And then whenever you're ready, you can come back, taking your time. And if that practice brought up some emotion for you, I want to invite you to just gently place your hand on your chest and take some nice, long, gentle breaths. And if you like, you can give yourself a little massage, rubbing your arms and your shoulders, giving yourself a hug if that feels good for you. Self-touch is another really powerful grounding technique, and it communicates to our bodies that our body is supported in this moment, and that we're here with our body. Mhm. So just take a moment and write down some of the information that came up for you in that practice, because this is really valuable information, okay? You just communicated with your body, right? And your body is always sending you information. We just need to learn how to slow down and listen to it. And this is one of the beautiful ways that we can do that. Okay. So if not a whole lot came up for you in this practice, that's also okay. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you and that you're broken or something. Okay. Some people are visual, some people are more intuitive. This is something that grows with practice over time. And so, now you can build a relationship with this part of you. And something really cool happens when we start building relationships with these, I want to quote unquote, inconveniences, right? Or these difficult sensations. Is that when we start to build a relationship with them, they start to evolve and they transform over time. And they actually provide us with a lot of wisdom. Okay. You see how magical this work is, right? It's in you. You just need to learn the tools to get to know it a little bit better. Okay. And so, again, another reason why it's so important for us to listen to these things is when we continue to ignore the sensation, they start to cry out for attention, and that cry grows in intensity and it shows up in our life as illness, chronic fatigue, and even disease. Okay? Great. And when we build a healthier relationship with our body, when we learn to calm our nervous system, when we start listening to ourselves a lot more, we learn how to reconnect with our center, how to anchor back into the present moment. We learn to heal the trapped trauma that is costing us our life force energy. And from there, we get to cultivate more inner peace and we get to access our intuition. And another cool thing I forgot to mention in my notes here is that the outside world starts to impact you a lot less because you're more focused on what is happening in here. And this is where your power is. Okay. Sometimes life happens and we can't control the world around us, but we can learn the tools to control our reactions to things. We can learn the tools to shift our feeling state, our attitude towards things. Okay. So again, this is where your power is. Okay. Beautiful. All right. And then, oh yes. And then I wanted to show you guys this thing is really cool. So in this picture, we have a human nervous system. Okay. This is an actual anatomic view of a person's nervous system. We have the brain up here, right? And these are roots that run through our body. Okay. And it's so similar to a tree's roots, right? It's so cool. And one of my favorite quotes by Carl Jung, it says, no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Okay. So if we want to grow and evolve and move to incredible heights in our life, if we want to achieve great things, we need to build the roots. We need to build the necessary foundations that are going to support us to get to that level. Okay. Okay. And another thing that I should mention is that when we build our capacity, when we expand our window of tolerance, right, we're not only building our capacity to handle challenging moments in our life, we're also building our capacity to be able to experience the most blissful highs in our life as well. Because when we expand the window, it moves in both directions. Okay. So the better you are at handling the discomforts of life, the more open and more comfortable you are with receiving the good things that life wants to bring your way as well. Okay. How many times have we been on a journey of manifesting something and we find ourselves sabotaging our manifestations because we don't have capacity to receive those good things, right? If we're not used to those good things, it's unfamiliar to us and it's scary. It's triggering for our nervous system, right? So building our capacity for tougher moments also builds our capacity for beautiful moments, okay? That's the beauty of this work. Okay? Wow, I love it. Somatic therapy is so cool. All right, and then one more topic that we're going to explore together today is shadow work. And after this one, you're going to see how all three of these tools combine with one another to provide such a beautiful, magical, empowering practice for you. Okay. They all connect with each other in such a beautiful way. Okay. So let's talk about shadow work. Okay, so shadow work is a type of psychotherapy. It focuses on the parts of the psyche that people often keep hidden. We refer this we refer to this, excuse me, as the shadow self. So this is coined by Carl Jung. Okay, he first developed this concept. He used the term shadow self to describe the things that people usually repress or don't like to acknowledge. Okay, so the shadow, it's the parts of our personality that we rather not share with the world because we're afraid that if we do, we'll get rejected, we'll get abandoned, or people won't like us anymore. Okay. So some examples of our shadow would be some some things that make us angry, right? Some resentments that we hold towards the world, okay? Jealousy, right? We all experience jealousy in our lives, right? Like if you're a human being, you've been jealous before, okay? But, we wouldn't say that, right? We would just hide that in the shadow, right? Of course. Negative belief systems, our shame, fears, it can also be a place where we might accidentally hide our greatest potential, okay? Like our creativity, or some really great ideas that we have, or these really big dreams and desires we have to go against the norm and step outside the box, right? We hide those things in our shadow because there's this collective fear of being too much, right? If we're too much, people won't like us, we'll be abandoned, and we'll die alone, right? This is the extremes that our ego mind will play out for us, right? And it really is it's a fear that stems from more tribal times, like way back in the beginning when we lived in nature as tribes. If we were rejected from our community, we would literally die. We would probably be eaten by a bear, right? We couldn't survive on our own, right? So this shadow self is connected to the very primal part of our brain. It's the survival instincts, okay? So the reason why doing our shadow work is so important when it comes to our healing and transformation is because as long as we keep these parts of ourselves hidden and out of sight and out of mind, and we don't acknowledge them, these parts of us will manifest in our lives uninvited. Okay. So, for example, a person who has low self-esteem, they have low self-worth. Okay. But, they wouldn't let the world know that, right? They would keep it hidden in the shadow, right? However, if we keep it buried and we don't tend to that, you will continuously attract situations and events in your life that will mirror that belief, right? Because we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. We attract the beliefs and the programming that we hold deep down, okay? And when we're not willing to acknowledge these things, they will control our life, okay? And so it's where we might store a lot of unhealthy limiting beliefs, negative impulses, unresolved pain, unresolved grief, okay? And not again, like I said earlier, not a lot of us are taught how to deal with these things. We don't know how to deal with the shadow, right? We've been taught to stuff it away, okay? So, another big thing, and this is another reason why it's so important with this work that we're doing to step into our power and to unleash our intuitive gifts, is, many people have this hidden belief that it's not safe for us to step into our power. Okay. It's not safe for us to be a gifted individual and to share those gifts with the world, okay? Because if we do, we would fall victim to harsh judgments of other people. We would be misunderstood by people. And in some extreme cases, we may even be attacked for it. Okay. Which brings me to this next point, the witch wound. Okay. So many of you have probably heard of this before. This is a very old ancestral trauma that a lot of us are still working through in today's society. And so the witch wound, it's an inherited collective trauma that's rooted in the dark history of the burning times, right? And this trauma manifests as a fear of being seen, of speaking up, of stepping into our full magic and power. Okay. Some of these victims back in the day, they were healers, midwives, wise women, and men, okay, who served their communities. And some of them were just people who were too much. They were too loud. They were too outspoken, too old, too rich, too poor, too beautiful, too ugly, too something, right? It was crazy, right? So if we still carry this unconscious belief that it's not safe for us to step into our power, then unfortunately, it doesn't matter how incredibly gifted you are because your subconscious mind, your programming will always win. Okay? This is the unfortunate truth. So, this belief, we don't work through this, it's going to continue to diminish your spirit. Okay? And spirit wants you to embrace your magic. It wants you to expand. It wants you to be your full on badass magical self, right? Spirit always encourages expansion and freedom and growth. Okay. So that brings me to the next point, which is really cool, the power of your subconscious mind. So, like I said earlier, we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. We attract the programming that we're holding inside, as within, so without. Okay. So, most of the time, what we're experiencing in our life is based off of what programming that we're holding on a subconscious level. Okay. So, the subconscious takes up roughly 90% of your brain. Okay. And consciously, we have 10%. Okay. So we have programming about the world that we live in, we have programming about ourselves, about other people in the world, and thoughts become things, even if they are unconsciously playing out in our head. Okay. And so, for example, if you have a belief or a programming that you have to work really, really hard to sacrifice everything in life to be successful, so it is, right? If you have a negative programming about how all men are assholes and they'll only cheat on you in relationships, so it is, right? You see where I'm going here? If you have a belief that you're not good enough to have blank or you're not smart enough to do blank, so it is. Okay? So the good news is that we can change our programming. Yes. This is what shadow work is used for. Okay? So we can change our programming, but first we have to look at it. Okay, we have to shine a light of conscious awareness on the shadow. And this is again why the somatic work is so crucial, right? Because a lot of the times when we start digging up these old beliefs and this negative programming, it can be really triggering to look at this stuff, right? It can overwhelm us and it can really activate our nervous system. Okay. So in this work that we do, it's not just about uncovering the obstacles that you're holding, but how to work through them in a nervous system level. Okay. And by doing that, we're clearing the path, we're clearing out the obstacles. We're clearing out that stagnant energy. We're clearing out the unresolved trauma. And after doing that, and after building your capacity and coming back down to ventral vagal and getting better and better and better at it with practice, you naturally own your intuition. You are a naturally intuitive being. This is how you are meant to move through the world. Okay. Okay. Um, Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin. This is a great quote. Another really great quote that I love. Okay. So another really big obstacle for people when we're trying to learn how to read tarot cards and tap into our intuition is that they don't trust themselves. Okay. And in order for us to change that, we need to do some shadow work, right? We need to start looking at some of these negative beliefs that we have about ourselves. Okay. So let's do an exercise. So if you have your journal, this is something that I want to invite you to explore. This is a shadow work journal prompt. It's going to reveal some unconscious programming for you to work with. And I want you to finish this sentence and fill it out 5 times in your journal. So the sentence is, I don't trust myself because, and then fill in the blank. And I want you to write down 5 different things. And really take your time. And don't worry, we're not going to share these answers or anything. These are all just for you. These are all just tools to help you to understand yourself a little bit more. Okay. So let's see some examples. I don't trust myself because I said I was going to show up for my friend on Saturday, but I ended up canceling plans last minute because I didn't feel like it. And actually, I lied and I said I had an emergency, but I just didn't want to do it. Okay. That's one example. I don't trust myself because I cheated on my exam and I ended up getting a better mark than everybody else. Right? So, and these could be really big things or they can be little things, right? It doesn't matter. It all has an effect. It all plays a part. Um, I don't trust myself because I was unfaithful in my past relationship, right? I don't trust myself because I pretend that I'm okay with my job, but the truth is that I'm not really that happy, right? I don't trust myself because I wear a mask in some situations, right? You know, I don't trust myself because I acted really mean to this person who was trying to help me, right? You know, so just write down 5 things I don't trust myself because. Okay, so the truth is, you are a magnificent, multidimensional, magical being made of a perfect mix of both light and shadow. Okay, you are a human being, which means that you're here to learn and that you are here to make mistakes. Okay, so after we do this work, after we process these emotions, after we found some peace with it all, the work it ends up being about forgiving yourself, okay? Self-forgiveness is such a powerful practice. Powerful practice. So, at the end of the day, can you give yourself permission to be a human being and to make mistakes, right? Can you forgive yourself for being so incredibly hard on yourself when you trip up along the way? Okay. And something really cool about self-forgiveness work is when you start forgiving yourself for certain things, it starts to become possible for you to forgive other people as well. Okay. Yeah, it's a powerful one. And so, in the work that we do, which I'm going to share with you all in just a moment, this is the work that plays out. So yes, we use tarot, we use somatic therapy, connect with our body. We uncover some obstacles with the shadow work, and then we do forgiveness work, right? We repair the relationship that we have to ourselves, and we begin to soften in a really beautiful way, and our hearts begin to open up, and we start to release things that we thought we'd never be able to let go of. Okay. Uh, and life starts to open up, spirit starts to open up, your intuition starts to open up, everything starts to expand from that place, right? So all of these three tools create such a incredible activation. It's a huge transformation. And it helps you to know yourself on such a deep and intimate level as well, which you deserve to experience in this world. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so altogether, this is a total mind, body, spirit journey, clearing the path of stepping into your power and realizing how incredibly gifted you are, and using those gifts to manifest a beautiful world for yourself and for others. So we go through the whole mind, body, spirit. We got mind, the shadow, working through the darker parts of the psyche, body with somatic therapy, coming back to the wisdom in your body, and spirit, which is tarot. And tarot helps us to tap into this world beyond the physical realm. Okay, it really opens us up to what's available. And there's so much more than what our physical eyes can see. Okay, beautiful. So now I'm going to share my really big announcement, which I'm really, 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 really excited about. I'm so excited about this, y'all. And then we'll do a little Q&A afterwards. And I would love to hear from all of you and just know what those exercises were like, if it brought up some things. If you need some support, I'm happy to offer you a bit of coaching as well. So here we go. So, somatic tarot. This is a 6 month journey, my friends. It's a complete rebirth. And this is a process that's going to help you to awaken your spiritual gifts, including all of the beautiful tools that I talked about in this masterclass. Okay. So, some of the things that we are going to practice in this 6 month container, of course, tarot and divination. So, you're going to learn how to read the cards and other divination tools. So, we'll also use the pendulum at times as well. You're also going to be taught how to read for other people, okay? There's a lot of really important aspects to consider before you start reading for others. Things like setting boundaries, protecting your energy. There's lots of things to take into account before you start offering your gifts, okay? We are also going to dive into psychic development, okay? So we're going to dive into the clairs, learn how to unlock and enhance your psychic abilities so that you can trust and follow your inner guidance. And something really cool happens when you start playing with tarot cards. Your other intuitive gifts start to open up as well. Okay, so tarot is like the key that unlocks a bunch of other really cool stuff. Of course, somatic therapy, we're going to use body-based practices to repair the relationship you have to your body and how to connect with the ancient wisdom inside of you. We're going to do a bunch of shadow work together, uncovering and healing the hidden parts of yourself that hold you back from stepping into your power and unleashing your spiritual badass, and spiritual community. So, sharing a sacred space with a group of magical souls who are on the same path of stepping into their power and supporting each other along the way. So, this work is obviously incredibly powerful, incredibly transformative. But when you are doing this work live with a community, this stuff gets amplified, right? Because we're all supporting each other in our healing and transformation as well. Okay. So by the end of this program, you'll have a profound understanding of your gifts and the confidence to use them for personal growth and healing. You'll have lifelong friends to support you on your spiritual journey, and you'll feel inspired to offer your gifts in service to helping other people as well. A lot of people who have finished this program actually move on to start their own business. So they start with offering readings to people, and then they start exploring other gifts, and they start coaching, and it kind of just snowballs from there. Okay. So a couple other things I should mention as well. What's really cool about the 6 months is that, we're starting in October, okay? And we're entering the darker period of the year, okay? So this is the best time for you to do your healing and transformation work, right? And then once we're finished in March, you have gone through an incredible rebirthing process that now prepares you for an epic year of 2025. Okay. Plus, you get to do it with some really cool friends. And each month that we do will have a particular theme. So, starting in October, we're going to be focusing on foundations and grounding. And then in November, we're going to be diving deeper into more shadow work processes. We're entering Scorpio season, right? Where we're working with the astrological signs to support this healing as well. Okay. There's also going to be really great opportunity for you to practice doing readings with your classmates. And it's also a really fun collaborative container, I want to say as well. Like there is an agenda, there is certain lessons, but there's also space for collaboration. And I'm also a really huge fan of supporting students to step into their leadership. So if you sign up for this program and there's something cool that you want to bring to the group, just let me know. And also, something that we'll be doing in the live classes is something called Tarot Sharing Circle. And this is a really cool group exercise where we all do some grounding, we all tap in, and then everyone pulls a card. And then we pass the card around, right? So everybody shares an intuitive message, and everyone receives an intuitive message from everyone that's in the group. Okay, so it's really cool. We'll do a bunch of those as well. And you get to have like a reading from everybody in the class. So it's really great. I also have a bunch of really amazing testimonies on my website from past students that have done the course years ago now. They still reach out to me today, letting me know, like, everything has changed since I took your course. It's so amazing how much more intuitive I am and how more trusting I am of life and all these opportunities that I've been manifesting. And also, there is quite in-depth, frequently asked questions area on that page as well. And if there are any other questions, there's an option to book a call with me so we can chat. Okay. So let's break down the investment. So it's a 6 month journey that involves 12 live group calls that's valued at 5,000. You're going to get 100 plus pre-recorded lessons. So that involves all the tarot cards. We're going to go deep into all the symbolism, just like we did with the Fool card earlier. And the reason I have this number and plus is because I am constantly adding new things to this, constantly adding stuff. It's always evolving every time I teach it. There's 5 plus guided meditations going to help you to connect your intuition. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about channeling and how you can start channeling the elemental forces in the tarot as well. Going to be a bunch of study books that are going to help you. And of course, there's a private Facebook group as well. So it's like an alumni. So you get to connect with all of the other past students that have taken this program as well. So all of this added up comes to a total value of over $11,000. And you can sign up today for a 6 month payment plan of $299 a month. Or there's also a pay in full option. So you do end up saving a bit of money. And with the pay in full option, I'm also going to throw in 2 bonus sessions with me that you can use at any time throughout the 6 month program. And I am a trained professional therapist, and so this will be really good for you if if you're moving through a lot of stuff right now, if you need that extra support. Some of the exercises that we do with the shadow work, especially, it's normal to dig up a lot of things. And so just know that there is some extra support available there for you if you need it. And so there are different options available for you as well. If you really, really want to sign up for this, and if this payment plan doesn't work for you, then reach out to me and we can talk a little bit about where you're at, and I'll be happy to accommodate your needs. So, live classes starts on October the 13th. Okay, so it's going to be here in no time. I'm very, very, very excited. And the live classes are held bi-weekly. Okay, so it's gonna be on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so the same time as when I hosted this masterclass. And it's going to be held on the second and the fourth Sunday of each month, excuse me. I'm also going to have a schedule posted as well so that you'll have all the Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff too. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to stop the screen share here and want to check in with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or if there was anything that came up for you while we were doing those different processes. If you want a
It's
little.
been now about 3 months since I graduated from the course, and I can tell you that it's not a course that you'll just be done with and that's it. It's something that has continued to exponentially impact my life every day since then. And I can see how it's going to continue to impact me and the rest of our community. Haley really emphasizes tapping into your intuition and embracing that. That was a major breakthrough and major energetic shift with me, is once you kind of learn this method of understanding them, then you can really tap into yourself, because we have all the answers that we need inside of us. So my relationship with myself and my soul and spiritual connection has shifted because I just trust myself so much more now. And I used to kind of doubt I might have a breakthrough or a realization, and I would sort of question myself, like, am I doing this right? And now I know not to do that. And so that was a really big aha moment with how I have a relationship to my divinity and really trusting it. Haley creates a safe space where she encourages vulnerability, never pushing anyone to go past their comfort zone, but always, going into the online community and into the WhatsApp group. You always just felt like you're going into a big energetic hug. And I was a little bit afraid at first. I was nervous about sharing and opening up, but as soon as I did, everyone just came through with so much support. Also getting to get to know the community beyond what was my immediate class. And that's, such an amazing gift that Haley is doing for the collective, and I just see it building and building in so many ways. Haley is true and genuine and committed to her vision, and just extra excited to see what she's going to continue to do. So I would say, if you're on the fence about it, there's a reason you made it this far into my video and watching her testimonials and everything. So I would trust yourself on it. And it's something really big that, we should all spiritual people be excited to be a part of. What was my favorite part of the program? It's really hard to pick. Haley really provides a pretty thorough and in-depth toolkit for things that you can, in a lasting regard, work on to get in touch with your divinity. She really gets into detail about things and nurturing about things. So if we're studying cards or themes in class, like doing shadow work, what we put into the shadow work was definitely one of my favorite parts of the course. And, you know, so she would lead us on that kind of thing, and then also acknowledge, like, hey, that was a lot, so take some time to rest. Or, you know, she's not gonna pile on all these intense themes at once, to make sure that you can really understand it, really befriend it, and again, have the lasting tools to continue to do that work. I know now, with listening to myself, that was me following my intuition, and that was something that Haley really has helped me to strengthen and get back in touch with. So I'm so grateful. So thank you, Haley. Thank you to the Sacred Jane community. And yeah, let's keep it going. Let's keep it growing.
My name is Lourdes, and I took Haley Jane's class. Having Haley as a teacher is incredible because she is so tender and understanding, and is there when you have questions, and she just really cares to connect with you and to show you that she cares. And I think that's very valuable and very helpful. And she also challenges you, which is beautiful, helping you to dip into the sides of yourself that you feel a little uncomfortable to reach. But then when you do, you recognize that it's this great part of yourself that you can incorporate and work with and nurture. The biggest change that I've seen within myself is that feeling of empowerment. I recognize more and more that there is so much more within myself. As a beautiful, like, earth angel here, I get to communicate to others and understand more how to be empathetic and sensitive to them through, like I said, not only my mind, but also through my body. I'm feeling like I am not only using my masculine, right, part of myself, using my mind, I'm more dipping into that intuition, that feminine part of myself, and understanding how to communicate that with others. My greatest shift and breakthrough during this class was realizing that I don't only have the ability to use my mind, but also to understand how the rest of the world speaks to my body, feeling connected to feeling my heart, feeling my skin, right? Paying attention to all the different ways that this world communicates to us. The online support is incredible because you have others there ready to reach out, and you can share what you would like, and then you hear feedback from them. And that's just so, like, it feels like a beautiful coven that's all there ready to communicate with each other. My favorite part of this whole program was being able to really connect with the others that were in the class, and to connect with Haley and just have that really personal time with one another, being in contact, and even learning to pull cards for each other. That was just like a delight. So the communication and being able to practice with one another was very, very huge for me. If I was to sum up Haley's program in a few sentences, I would say that it is this incredible class where you will also have this empowering sense that you will receive from yourself.
During the program, I learned so much about the tarot cards. When I first started using tarot, I was Googling all of the answers, and I realized that the answers were always inside of me intuitively. And that's what Haley Jane had really taught us, is that the answers are within. What's evolved since is that I've become a tarot reader. I feel really confident in myself. I also realized that I can do this for a living for my clients. I'm a fitness trainer, and I believe like I can align tarot and fitness, and that's something nobody's ever done. And that was a huge breakthrough for me, realizing that, hey, I'm a spiritual woman, and spiritual women are also into fitness, and why not? One of the biggest breakthroughs for me in Haley Jane's tarot course was the week where we learned to trust ourselves. I don't think I've ever said to myself, I trust you. Haley's shadow work during this course had really helped me develop a strong, trusting relationship with myself and an inner confidence that had developed into more resilience. So I'm really, really grateful for that. I was deathly afraid of the Tower card, to the point where I'd be so scared to do readings for myself because I didn't want to pull the Tower card, because I was like, everything is going to implode from the inside, and I was so scared. And Sacred Jade actually helped me to develop a better relationship with the Tower, in terms of realizing it is a big change for sure, but to embrace change more. The relationship with myself that I have now, I definitely have more trust in myself. I definitely reconnected with spiritual practices. Pulling cards every day had really helped, because then it started connecting me with my inner wisdom. And then like, oh, I know what that means. So it actually developed a really stronger connection to the cards and to the universe in general. And just developing that soul wisdom connection. It was so great. Really the biggest aha moments was like, oh, this could be really fun for me. And just all of the homework too. All of the homework, like making my own tarot card. It was just really such a beautiful experience all around. Haley, you are just the most magical, beautiful soul that I've ever run into, and in life, and it's always been such a pleasure knowing you, but having you as a mentor and a teacher and guiding us through these practices and being so gentle, especially going through all of the shadow work and you being there for us, it was really truly an amazing experience. And Haley is so experienced and so generous and just so loving and very knowledgeable. The things that she taught in terms of looking at symbols, developing relationships with cards, it's things that I never really thought about. I thought I had to memorize all of this stuff, but Haley actually made it enjoyable, associated it to our everyday lives. The essence of Haley's course is really about developing intuition and unlocking inner wisdom we have within our souls and within ourselves. The energy of the group, the energy of herself, leading the group, the energy of the women, the energy of the cards, and just being so much fun. It really was a truly one-of-a-kind experience, for sure. The support of the WhatsApp group was great because it was very encouraging to let you know that you're on the right path, your ideas are good, or it's great for support if you had some shadows come up, or you want to share your experiences with the cards. It was really, really great community, great supportive group of women, and I would say do it. All in, do it, invest in your heart and your soul, and just give her. Haley, I have nothing but love for you, respect for you. You are an amazing teacher, and I'm so grateful I got to do this and to have you as my guide, and I just want to thank you so much. Love you.
To anyone thinking about signing up for this course, I would say do it. If you can, do it. You're going to learn so much from it, so much from each other. Basically, the past couple years I've been slowly teaching myself, starting out with oracle cards, but the knowledge that I had was only the tip of the iceberg. I entered the program feeling pretty exhausted. I had a lot of emotions bubble to the surface as of late. It honestly couldn't have come at a better time. Just to have a group of such supportive women to meet up with every week was so wonderful, especially during these times when people can feel pretty isolated. Having such a rad group of ladies to meet with every week and to connect with over our WhatsApp group was something really special, and you don't always get that. And it was also really nice to, you know, step outside of your comfort zone and meet different people from different cities and hear their stories. And you know, everybody has something to offer and something to give, and each gift everybody has is so different and unique that it really pays to, you know, support each other and hear each other's stories and help each other through it, because everyone's gonna help each other. I'd say the essence and energy of this program is just Haley wanting to spread her knowledge and wealth with everyone around her, just to help people realize that they have the answers inside of themselves. Thank you, Haley, for putting on such an amazing program. It was so well organized, put together. It was amazing to have a group of women to check in with once a week, just to share our stories and learn from each other. You are such an inspiring person, and very grateful for everything that you've given to us. Thank you so much.
Hello universe, my name is Golden Sky. I am a native shaman healer. I'm located in San Antonio, Texas, and I wanted to let you know all about Haley Jane's, Sacred Jane's workshops, her tarot classes that she has, and tell you my journey and where it has led me up into this point, and just express my gratitude and appreciation for what she has done, not only for my physical self, but also for my spiritual well-being. I took Haley Jane's course last year in June, I believe, and I was going through what individuals call a shamanistic awakening. I had no idea what was going on with me. There were questions that I had that nobody could answer. And for those of you that are going through some kind of spiritual awakening, or you hit a block in the road and there's no other source that you turn to and you feel all alone, or even if you've just been thinking about taking a tarot course to better understand sacred space, to better understand love and diversity and warmth and energy and frequencies, you do not need to look any further. Haley Jane's course is transformational in so many spectrums. I'm going to share with you my journey. I'm going to try to keep this short because there's so much to say. I'm going to share with you my journey and my experience. So 2020 was more than an eye opener for me. I actually got to dig deep. My original profession was or still is, title right, is an award-winning and globally recognized designer. My whole life transformed. I didn't have anybody to turn to, and then I stumbled upon Haley Jane. I've always wanted to learn tarot and try to figure out what it entails. I'm also an educator, so I dug deep to find out, you know, what this was. When I started her class, there were so many questions that were answered. Her whole format is easy to learn. It's for beginners, intermediate, it's for advanced, it's for seekers, it's for anyone that is being called to the tarot. Is anyone that is being called for any answers that you may be truly internally seeking. I took the course and I finished it, completed. Because of her course, I was able to find myself. I was able to find the answers that I was looking for, because nobody else could help me. We were in, you know, the quarantine and everything. I had to turn internally, and tarot became my connection to my guides, to try not to cry, but became a connection to my ancestors. And I never would have gotten that if I wouldn't have taken a course or try to educate myself. And taking it gave me so much clarity and so many answers, that I'm just forever thankful for. And for all of you that are thinking about taking it, if you're in a position of spiritual awakening, if you just want to learn the tarot, if you're advanced, if you're beginner, if you're intermediate, Haley Jane is just the badass high priestess. All this ball of energy and sacred space, everything is worth it. If you do have the means to take her class, please take it. From 2020 until now, I had a lot of self-discovery of who I was, my native culture, and because of the course, I just had such a clear understanding. The the homework was super fun. The meditations that you do, the guided meditation, it's so much more. You're not just reading cards. You're not, no. If you think that's what it is, it's wrong. And boy, was I wrong. It was more in depth on learning spirituality, sacred space, symbolism. The homework assignments were generated for you to learn, with the tarot, the origin, where it came from, and you're part of this group that is there with you, and you're with like-minded individuals. And then the WhatsApp app, we were able to talk and share ideas, and even share things that were happening to us that I didn't have anywhere else. And that for me was crucial, because I came from this career and just jumped into this spiritual spectrum, and now I'm in my true silver lining. Because of her course, I have now found my path, and there's still so much, but it has given me peace of mind. It has led me on ventures that I would have never, ever have gotten to if I wouldn't have educated myself, take the initiative to open and broaden my mind, put myself into an atmosphere with like-minded people. So that's my story. There's so much more, but Haley Jane's course is amazing. Thank you, Haley, from the bottom of my heart for transforming everything. And just know you are the reason why I'm here today, confident as the shaman that I am. So take your course, because it's worth every fucking penny and more, and way more. All right, thank you all, and love wins.
I had actually come to the program in a really rocky little spot. Had come out of a weird breakup and having to kind of shuffle my cards in a sense in life and start all over again. And I didn't necessarily feel knocked down, but I definitely did feel like I really needed a sense of direction. And I think the only place that direction could have come from was internally. Even just the first couple classes was learning how to connect to yourself and learning how to listen to that voice and learning how to speak up. My relationship with myself has really grown. I think there was a lot of doubt. I grew up with, stories of always doubting yourself and not taking the stance and caring about what other people think and over caregiving. And not that those parts, are completely gone, but I think the biggest relationship with myself that has shifted is to trust that voice and that tells me what to do next, not my head. And this is one really important thing I learned in the class is usually your intuition isn't from your head. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your body, and it's very grounded. And the more that you listen to that voice, the more it comes out. And I feel like that's been a huge shift for me to motivate me to push forward, because there's no other options than to be yourself. The choices I'm making are more aligned with who I am. on a deeper level. Not just what I think I need to be or, what I think I need to achieve, but on a deeper level, I do feel more of a connection to what do I want, what's going to make me happy, what was I pushing away that I wasn't so sure about before, that, now I'm just going to put it out there and embrace it and live more aligned and have a lot more happiness and be able to have more generosity and have flow. I think that's huge. So the online group support was wonderful in the sense that you could say anything, and it wasn't necessarily needing to be tarot related, but it was accepted and it was heard, and you were able to be seen for who you are, not feeling the need to be judged. Like, you could literally say anything, I think, in those groups, and you were just supported for that. And I think those are really rare spaces, especially in our current situations and lives, and I think that connection is huge, and to be able to be authentically yourself is important, and to not be judged for it. Definitely my favorite part was getting creative about some of the homework. I say homework and it sounds scary, but it's not actually that scary. It was more kind of fun. It was, they were exercises that allowed you to bring out your intuition, but also your creativity. And I think that is a huge part of flow, is being able to tap into that, especially like that feminine energy. And honestly, having to do it, being told to do it sometimes is necessary, and having to have that as a task, it was a blessing. I've now created a little practice. So in the mornings, I do and have for years started a gratitude journal of just 3 things that I'm really grateful for every day. And now I've added picking a tarot card every day, or whatever comes to me intuitively. And not only does this help me learn the cards and understand what's happening, but it also helps me to be able to connect to myself and to sometimes even listen to things that I would brush off normally. Intuition's one of those things, I think, that a lot of the time we do kind of doubt unless we are in really good alignment with it and really listen to it. I'm practicing this daily, and I'm feeling more and more, I guess, powerful, more strong in my ability just as a human, not just as, someone that reads tarot. It's just as a day-to-day person. Like, how do I show up? How do I do my shadow work? How do I use these cards, use a tool to help me get better? Tarot really helped me to kind of embrace more of myself. The essence of the program is, it's magical, it's spiritual, and honestly, it's just fresh. Like, you feel like you can come into your own wherever you are at. If you are a tarot expert, you have no idea about tarot, you're curious, you're interested, it really just helps reinforce who you are to yourself first and foremost, and you learn tarot. And you know what? Learning things is cool. Like, going through life and being so closed off to things is for some people, but if you're the very kind of curious type, and you just want to learn about the world and different perspectives and how to do things, I think that it is a brilliant course to just try and to, indulge yourself with. I think it's a gift. Honestly, the nights that I had tarot class, I felt like, okay, this is good. This is my break. This is something fun. This is something I'm going to enjoy. And I learned so much out of it. And I have now, a really great skill and practice for my intuition. And that's going to carry me forward in any walk of life or any choice I choose. Sacred Jane's courses are amazing. I think that Haley is such a wonderful, caring, just beautiful person and beautiful instructor. And she's come, into her own. And I think that really shows. But it also, there's a humanness with it. Like, we're not all perfect, right? We're all on this journey. And I think that we all teach each other something. And I think that that's something that's really beautiful about Haley, is she's very open about that and, open to learning from her students, right? We all have pieces of knowledge that we can share with one another. And no one is an expert in this thing called life. It's all very different for everyone. And I think that there is that really humble realization of that. And being able to see that allows you to play, allows you to feel in yourself, have fun. And I think that that's just something really beautiful that the course offers. And the knowledge is incredible, the community is incredible. And if you're looking for all those types of things, like connection to yourself and others, learning, creativity, being able to express yourself, then I think you should just do it.
When I was taking the class, I was really impressed with just how much of it involved understanding your intuition, tapping into it, and learning how to develop that side of you. That was really helpful for me. I feel like overall I can trust my intuition a lot more now and see it as a strength. My relationship to the tarot cards has changed in a couple of ways. First of all, they used to just be cards with pictures on them and I had no idea what they meant or how they worked. Now I definitely understand the meanings of the card, the symbolism within them, and how the meaning changes depending on how they fall together. And this was really the first thing I'd ever done to develop the spiritual side of me. I'd never really had somewhere to turn to practice that side of me. Also, what's changed for me is now I don't really have to rely entirely on getting my cards read by someone. I can if I want to, but I feel like I can turn to them myself whenever I need a little bit of guidance or clarification in my life. I've more understood how my intuition works and how it's a strength. My biggest aha moments were when we were learning about the cards and the progression of the cards, whether it was the major arcana or the suit of cards. I had no idea that they actually told a story or were a specific progression. That was really interesting to me. My favorite part of the program was definitely just having Haley's character as a teacher. And also the homeworks were actually fun. I know homework and fun aren't usually paired together, but I thought they were such simple tasks that were actually quite enjoyable. Haley is such a positive, wise, bubbly, and friendly character, and it was really awesome having her as a teacher. She did a really good job at making a really welcoming space for everyone where everyone could be themselves and share their personal stories or experience or whatever it was they were going through without any judgment. It is really good to know that there's a community there that I can connect with of like-minded people that share the same interests. And it's great to know there's somewhere to go if I want to practice reading cards or want to get a second opinion on my spreads or whatever cards I deal. Our WhatsApp group was a really busy, vibrant place where we'd all be sharing voice notes, videos, images, asking questions, and really just getting closer to everybody in the class. It was a really great, non-judgmental, welcoming space overall, and I really recommend it to anybody. If I were to explain the essence of Haley's tarot course, I would say that it's a really all-encompassing class for awakening your intuition and spirituality and developing your relationship with yourself.